and welcome back to Cow Talk, the podcast that goes in depth into the real issues affecting South Korean farmers. I'm your host Ben, and today we'll discuss the other side of the ongoing conflict between cattle farmers and their local communities. In our last episode, we took a look at how people are fighting cattle farm expansions, citing smells, noise, and environmental impact. But what about the farmers themselves? What are the challenges they must face in trying to expand their operations, and why has cattle farming grown into an often unstable, frankly dangerous business? We try to seek answers from a local farmer who has been running cattle farms since 1981. His experience puts light upon the legal and social battles that farmers are having to endure today. Let me set the scene of the situation from a legal point of view. Back in the day, at the time when the farm of our interviewee was just starting, cattle farming was an industry in which entering was rather easy. You could start the farm with only 2 cows and still make a profit. But things have dramatically changed since the 80s. To have a profitable cattle farm now, you need to think in terms of much bigger, around 200 cows. As such, the interviewee said it requires about 2 billion Korean won or about $1.5 million USD investment in building the profitable cattle farm. That includes large ventilation fans, updated equipment, and major infrastructure such as land. In that sense, the entry barrier has grown. This is due to the fact that cattle farming has become too unaffordable for the average small-scale farmer. He identified that most successful cattle farms today either started off a long time ago, such as his, or were part of some family-run businesses handed down through generations. If anything, it is almost impossible for new farmers to break into the industry due to the high costs. Apart from the financial burdens, there are also environmental regulations. While the goal of saving the ecosystem is understandable and vital, many of these laws add further stressors to farmers. Today, farmers are fined if they fail to handle manure, waste, and odors correctly. Our interviewee said he was concerned that, though well-intentioned, these laws are making it hard for young farmers to take root and older farmers to keep in business without constant streams of fines for minor infractions. Then there's infrastructure. Although the roads are wide enough for large trucks to go through, the city requires farms to pay extra for expansion as the trucks could inconvenience locals. Cattle farming has brought many overwhelming legal and financial challenges to the farmer. It is not just about raising cows, it is also about finding a way around regulations coupled with financial obstacles that make survival in this industry increasingly hard. Now, on the social aspects, even if farmers can overcome the legal and financial obstacles that lie in their path, there is another challenge altogether: community resistance. One thing that came across loud and clear from our farmer was that in the early years of his career, cattle farms were seen as a part of the rural landscape, nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. That, however, is no longer the case. Over recent years, tension has arisen between farmers and local residents. Our farmer said that with every expansion he tried to make with his operation, opposition from the local community grew. Residents complained about the potential effect a farm would have on their way of life. After pursuing all the legal steps and permits required for the operation, he learned that the community resistance remained strong. One of the most frustrating aspects for farmers is that even when they have everything in place to begin construction, one complaint from the residents could delay the whole process. The local governments generally side with the residents, which more often than not freezes the farm operations until some sort of investigation or negotiation takes place. As our farmer says, building or expanding a cattle farm today is almost like declaring a legal war with your neighbors. It's that bad. He says the farmers now expect the opposition as part of the process. Under these circumstances, farmers have only 2 options: to fight or to negotiate. To fight means embarking on a prolonged and costly legal fight. Even if the farmer has followed the law, the community can still stall any development by continuously lodging complaints until they get some kind of compensation. It is unfortunate on the farmer's part because they either need to give up their plans or pay off the residents as a settlement of some sort. This dynamic is even worse in rural areas, where everybody knows each other. Even if a farmer manages to move forward, the hostility and social exclusion from one's very neighbors could mean another few years of an incredibly hard life in such close-knit communities. Far from being unique, our interviewee's story simply reflects the struggles that farmers throughout South Korea have to confront today. Financial pressures, legal hurdles, and growing community resistance make cattle farming an increasingly impossible industry in which to thrive. And here it gets even worse. These challenges are not only discouraging new farmers from taking up the vocation, but they're driving out the existing ones. Many of today's farm owners are at retirement age, and with their children choosing other professions, fewer farms are being passed down to the next generations. As these farms close, the lands are not reused but are more often repurposed for development. Hence, South Korea is losing some precious farmlands. Like many farmers, Ari is deeply worried about the prospects for farming in Korea. He fears that if these trends continue, cattle farming and perhaps farming in general may soon become unsustainable. As we've seen, the situation for South Korean cattle farmers is becoming increasingly difficult, and there doesn't seem to be a clear path forward. The combination of financial burdens, legal obstacles, and social resistance makes the already challenging industry virtually impossible. These are the trends that would lead to fewer farms, less agriculture, and perhaps a decline in one of South Korea's most vital industries. We'll be hearing more about these issues throughout our future episodes. So stay tuned, I'm Ben, and thanks for joining me today on Ka Talk. Let me know what you think on the comment section. See you then.